How's it going, everyone? It's Harvey from Weather SpongeBob 1000, and in this video, we're going to focus on this snowstorm that's currently meandering right around Missouri and Kansas at this time, and determine how much snow you should expect throughout the entirety of the Great Lakes region, as well as the Northeast region, where you could experience up to 10 inches of snow in localized areas. And we'll also talk about the possibility of a snowstorm pattern developing for the eastern half of the United States, since on the backside of this snowstorm, we could see a major jet stream dip as a result of the strong northerly winds that are going to be associated with this snowstorm that we're seeing right now. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. So let's begin by taking a look at the current radar, and we do see a large area of snow showers throughout Kansas and Missouri at this time, extending as far south as Oklahoma and Arkansas. And for a lot of you guys, this is your first snowfall of the year. And you see right now there isn't necessarily a heavy amount of snow. We're mainly seeing light to moderate snow, but this still is enough to dump at least up to 3 inches of snow in some of these areas. And Kansas City could get involved with that. Topeka, Kansas. So you need to pay close attention to that. And we're only going to see this continue to move further northeastward, and we'll see the area of snow extend far from the low pressure system. So we should see the storm become a little bit more expansive as it does begin to strengthen gradually as it continues to move to the northeast, as a result of a little bit of instability we're seeing right around the Midwest at this time. And if we were to look further southward, we do have some thunderstorm activity going on throughout Arkansas, and especially right around Louisiana, as it seems like there's enough instability and enough convective energy for the possibility of severe thunderstorms to occur right around Louisiana. So you need to watch out if you're right around the New Orleans metropolitan area and throughout southern Louisiana in general. Taking a look at the current temperatures to really see why this snowstorm has developed in the Midwest. So if we were to take a look at that, you're gonna see that the temperatures are gonna be very low. Give me just 1 second. So taking a look at the current temperatures, we do see that there is a decent amount of instability right around the Midwest, where we do see that throughout the northwestern portion of Arkansas, we see the temperatures hover around the mid-30s, while just a couple miles to the east of that, we see the temperatures go as high as the 50s in some areas of Mississippi. So there is at least a decent amount of instability to induce convective activity to create an upward motion right over Mississippi and Louisiana, for a lot of thunderstorm activity to occur, for a lot of condensation, for a rapid amount of lift in the atmosphere, for thunderstorm activity to develop, as well as snow activity a little bit further northward, where the temperatures are cool enough where we're seeing the temperatures hover right around the mid-30s. So that's something very important to keep in mind, that we're seeing just enough instability for this snowstorm to develop, and the instability will only increase as this storm continues to head further northeastward, especially once it encounters the Atlantic Ocean, where of course we still have very warm temperatures over the warmer Gulf Stream water, which of course is one of the main catalysts in strength rapidly intensifying nor'easters once low pressure systems come close to the northeast. So that's something to keep in mind, that the snowstorm will likely intensify, and as a result, so will the snowfall accumulation amounts further northeastward. Now, I'm taking a look at what the computer models are saying. Let's first take a look at what the European model is stating at this time. We see that the European model wants to strengthen this quite a bit, and we do see that this snow will eventually extend into Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, and this will even go as far north as Chicago, where Chicago could get involved with around 1 to 3 inches of snow. So for tomorrow on Tuesday, you need to watch out during your commute that there could be that possibility of some snowfall. I don't necessarily think we're going to see necessarily extremely heavy snowfall associated with this. It'll mainly be light to moderate, but it still could cause some issues for your rush hour commute. So you want to make sure to at least be aware of that throughout the Chicago metro area, as well as other surrounding cities that are very close to the Great Lakes. And we see that that the thunderstorm activity will continue to move eastward along with this low pressure system, and we're gonna begin to see the snow really intensify and the snowfall rates really intensify once this heads towards the northeast, where we do see that the thunderstorm activity will eventually change over into snow by the time this reaches Pennsylvania. And we have this big ridge that's bringing a strong northerly flow that's bringing a lot of that colder Arctic air further southward to create sort of a gradient between this very cold air and this warmer thunderstorm activity that's associated with this low pressure system, to create a highly unstable environment for a heavy amount of snow to occur in some portions of the northeast, more specifically the interior portions of the northeast. Now, along the Interstate 95 corridor, you're probably wondering if there's any chance you'll get involved with at least a little bit of snowfall. Well, at this point, it seems unlikely. Maybe at best you'll receive maybe a mixing, as more so in the northwestern portions of the metropolitan area, like such as New Jersey. Maybe you could get some mixing before it changes all over terrain, but in terms of any sort of snowfall accumulation, that's pretty much nearly impossible at this time. And even when it comes to a mixing of rain and snow, that's unlikely even for the bigger cities like New York City, Boston, Philadelphia. So it does seem like you're going to get involved with snow, with at least with this low pressure system, as it seems like the temperatures will be too warm and the trajectory of the low pressure system will move a little bit too far to the east to really bring that cold air to the major cities along the northeast. So it won't necessarily bring any sort of snowfall for you guys this Wednesday, but we will see heavy snowfall in other big cities such as Albany, where Albany could get involved with its first snow of the season. And we see that this low pressure system intensifies quite a bit once it reaches the northeast, where we see that well-defined bow echo, which is very iconic when we're taking a look at a mid-latitude cyclone. One of the defining characteristics of a mid-latitude cyclone, a powerful mid-latitude cyclone, is a bow echo, where we see the dry air filter in on the southern side, and of course most of the rain and convection a little bit further to the east as well as the north. So we do see that this storm is quite strong at this point, and it's pretty much and you could pretty much tell just by looking at the bow echo of this mid-latitude cyclone, where we are seeing the storm rapidly intensify, and as well as the snowfall rates just to the north of this storm. Now, taking a look, if we were to continue to move forward, we see the storm will continue to intensify, but by the point it peaks its intensity, it's going to be well far to the north of the United States, but eastern Canada still needs to pay close attention to a major snowstorm. But this storm won't be done by the time this leaves northeast, because of course we're gonna see strong winds associated on the back side of this low pressure system as a result of this pressure gradient between this ridge that's located right around Canada and of course this low pressure system. So that will enhance the possibility of lake effect snow. So if you're along the lake effect snow areas, then you need to pay very close attention to this, because it's more likely you will receive some of the most snow associated with this snowstorm. So that's something you need to watch out for along the coast of Michigan, as well as Erie, Pennsylvania, extending into Buffalo as well. You need to pay close attention to high possibility of extremely powerful lake effect snow bands developing. So you need to pay close attention to that. And in terms of the snowfall that the European model is forecasting associated with this storm, keep in mind the European model is assuming that 1 inch of precipitable rainfall equates to 10 inches of snow, and a lot of times that's not always the case, because of course there's a possibility that each snowflake could contain a little bit more precipitable water than other snowstorms, but the forecast from the European model is at least around the ballpark in terms of what you should expect when it comes to snowfall. We do see a large area of the northeast should expect anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow, and I wouldn't be surprised in localized areas you do receive close to, if not over, a foot, especially in the higher elevations of the interior northeast. And we see snow even extend to Pennsylvania, where some portions could receive maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow. And if I were to continue to move forward, we see that the snow will only the snowfall accumulation amount will only increase as time goes on along right around the Great Lakes region. Of course, as a result of lake effect snow, where we could see over a foot of snow in the hardest hit areas from the lake effect snow. So that's going to be something to keep in mind and stay aware of that possibility over the next several days, because this storm won't be over for those along the Great Lakes, even as this moves outside of the United States. And taking a look at what the GFS model is forecasting, we see a fairly similar forecast. The forecasts between the two main computer models are fairly reliable at this point, and there isn't a high amount of uncertainty, which is certainly good news, as it seems like the jet stream is going to position itself to bring the most snow to the interior northeast, and this will at least maintain a decent level of strength to bring heavy snow right around the interior northeast. So you should expect anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow right around the interior northeast, 1 to 3 right around the Midwest, as of course the low pressure system is far from its peak intensity, which is expected to peak by the time it reaches the northeast or beyond the northeast United States. So you should expect less snowfall, but still 1 to 3 inches is something you don't want to underestimate. So definitely pay very close attention to that over the next several days. And we see the GFS model wanting to bring a heavy amount of snow throughout the Great Lakes as well. Chicago could get involved with 1 to 3 inches of snow, so make sure to pay close attention to that over the next several days. Now you're probably wondering if there's anything else we need to pay close attention to this week throughout the United States. Well, after this snowstorm moves about, what's going to be interesting is that we're going to see a pretty significant jet stream dip, and I think this could lead to a snowstorm pattern, because of course when we see a major jet stream dip like this approaching the winter time frame, then we're more likely to see a higher level of instability, because of course there's more likely of a shot that this very cold Arctic air will interact with the very warm air that's further southward and along the Gulf Stream. So we should see a little bit more instability during cases like this, and we should see low pressure systems position itself to where it could encounter more instability, and it will be at a position where it could bring snow to a large portion of the United States, because of course when there's a noticeable jet stream dip like this, we're more likely to see the temperatures be cold enough for a major snowstorm to occur. And while currently the GFS model isn't necessarily forecasting anything major, at least in the near future, we could see something develop by next week. So we're going to need to pay close attention to that. And just remember that the temperatures will be much colder than average for much of the eastern half of the United States this week. And we're going to see another Clipper system move through right behind the low pressure system, which will only enhance the lake effect snow, especially along the coast of Michigan. So you want to pay close attention to that. But I'll keep you guys updated regarding any updates regarding this jet stream dip, because I think it's possible it could maybe lead to a snowstorm in the more long-term future, or a snowstorm pattern, thanks to how significant this jet stream dip is. Now, I'm taking a look at the Futurecast radar to see when you should expect impacts associated with this snowstorm. So pretty much if you're right around St. Louis, the snow should be right at your doorstep or very close. Should already be snowing at right now. And we do see that during the overnight hours is when the snow should be the worst, right around St. Louis, and then it will eventually approach the Chicago area right around Tuesday morning, and it'll linger around for quite some time. And I wouldn't say it leaves Chicago until Tuesday night, and we're going to see the snow eventually approach the Detroit area, I'd say by the mid-afternoon on Tuesday. So keep that in mind if you're around Detroit. And Cleveland, same thing. And then we should see that heavy snow eventually approach the northeast, I'd say right around Tuesday evening. So if you're in upstate New York and Albany and the northern portion of Pennsylvania, you need to pay close attention to that. Now, I'm taking a look at my forecast when it comes to this potentially major northeast snowstorm. So if you're in the pink, you should expect 6 to 12 inches of snow. This more specifically includes the higher elevations of the interior northeast, like the Adirondacks and the White Mountains. You need to pay close attention to the fact that you could receive up to a foot of snow, which is very significant. And of course, in the Great Lakes region, such as Buffalo, expect 6 to 12 inches. I'd say it's more on the lower end for the Buffalo area. Expect more like 6 to 9 inches right around Buffalo, but that's still very significant, and it's your first snowfall of the season, and this should last over a couple day period because of the lake effect snow. So that's something to be aware of over the next week, because it won't necessarily be a 1 day event. And same thing could be said for the coast of Michigan as well, where the lake effect snow will pound you guys 1 to 3 inches right around Illinois, extending to Missouri and Kansas as well. As it does seem like the storm will be as strong as it will be once it approaches the northeast, but it still will dump a decent amount of snow. And then 1 to 3 inches just to the south of it. Maybe you could expect some mixing in Boston and the northwestern portion of the metropolitan area of New York City. But in terms of snowfall accumulation, I'd say it's very unlikely. And for a lot of you guys, it should be your first snow of the season. So that's at least something to be excited for if you're really into the snow, which I am, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. So definitely something to get excited about in a lot of these areas in the Northeast. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content, and I hope you guys have a great day.